Juggalos in recovery. Juggalos in recovery. Juggalos in recovery.
All right, so I'm sharing in my screen here. If you can see it, that's cool. If not, whatever. But I'll go through a little bit here. So this is was requested. These are tools for DBT. DBT is like a therapy type program. I was in one a long, long time ago, and it helped me kind of regulate my you know emotions as far as stress and anxiety. The biggest thing that helped me obviously was quitting the drugs and alcohol. That was a huge step. But then these tools, in here kind of helped. And so I'm gonna just go into the first one. And there's a bunch of different sets. This is under emotional regulation. There's distress tolerances and interpersonal. And as I go through these meetings, I will probably go into each one of these, but we'll start here. So one of the things that they taught us in the DBT classes was this stop. Um, it's a it's just a way to like stop yourself and to think about what's going on, and it goes into some details here. So um, it's called the stop skill. Consists of basically it's just an acronym to stop, take a step back, observe, and then proceed. Um, so just stopping, being in control. When you feel like your emotions are not in control, definitely stop. Don't react. Don't do anything. Just stop. Is basically, you know, stop before you do anything that you're going to regret. Um, you know, I'm going to make sure this person gets in without issues here. So that's the first one is just stop. Just stop what you're doing. Don't react. Just chill. Take a step back when you're faced with a difficult situation. Um, you know, perspective, give yourself some time to calm down, take a step back, get unstuck from what you're doing, take a deep breath and continue breathing as long as you need to and until you're back in control. Don't let your emotions control what you do. Um, it is the rare incident indeed wherein we make a split decision about anything. Hence, it is okay to take our time and decide how to respond. So that's all part of it taking a step back. I think this is super important. These first two, with anything, is just to stop and really think about what you're going to do. Then observe the situation, uh, what's happening around you, what's happening inside you, who's all involved, what are people saying. Uh, Listening to the automatic negative thoughts that occur, remember that those are based on an outdated belief system that was programmed before you were 7. To make sure effective choices, it is important not to jump to conclusions instead gather the relevant facts. You can understand what is going on and what options are available, and then proceed mindfully. Ask yourself what you can do from this situation. What are your goals, or what might make this situation better or worse? What act will allow for success? Stay calm, stay in control, and when you have some information on how that may impact your goals, you will be better prepared to deal with the situation effectively. Remember, your brain needs time to think all of this through. So that's the first key of the emotional regulation part, is just to stop, like just as it says, stop what you're doing, think about what you're going to do, and then proceed mindfully. I think a lot of us, you know, particularly in recovery, may not have this part under control. When I was using and whatnot, I don't think I ever really stopped to think. I would just do and then deal with the consequences later. Um, so we'll start with that top skill here and just kind of go around. And if you have something to share about that particular point, that'd be awesome. And uh, just raise your hand or start sharing. And any thoughts or anything that might help someone who's struggling today?
Can't raise my hand, but I can say that stopping definitely helps because it can get real overwhelming in the moment. Oftentimes we're focusing on a certain part and maybe not the whole picture. So it's easy to get driven. I know that all way too well. It's better for you and the other person a lot of times to just, like you said, stop, take a step back, observe, and then proceed. Like, are you really getting the full picture? Are you using I statements or you statements? Stuff like that. It's a really good one. Oop, Nate.
Right. Right. Absolutely. So this is like the basic, like, I mean, if you think about it, like that's what everybody should be doing is just stopping and thinking before they react, right? I mean, but it's not as easy as it sounds, right? It's um so yeah, I'll get like a good example is just from this morning. I had my employer send me something and it was at first I was like, well, why are they like attacking me? Like, well, why? And I wanted to respond right away, just like fire off an email and just say, what the fuck's going on? Why are you doing what you're doing? But I stopped. I did. I stopped. I stepped back. I like looked at what the picture was, what the whole idea and the whole what it was about. And I realized it's not necessarily about me. It was such a minor thing to be upset about too. I was like, you know what? I'm going to respond differently. And I did. And I think it went over well. And, whatever the issue was got resolved. But it was like, I literally found myself doing that this morning, just stopping and realizing what was going on. And instead of responding how I really wanted to off the cuff, it was just like, I did it the way a normal fucking person should do it. Um, so that was my experience this morning. But anybody else got anything on that?
Ashamed to talk about it, but a long time ago, dude, I got in trouble for something like that too. It was like I think someone like cut me off or something in traffic. I got trapped in exactly that. I like got real heated in the moment, like blackout mad, and I think I threatened to like shoot up their house, like I know where you live. And then a year later, what do you know? It turned out they had got it on film and it came back to haunt me. So I totally know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can be like a really reactionary person too. And I've kind of noticed over the past like, year or so as I've been working on myself, how much like when we even express those things out loud, whether they're to ourselves or to another person, like our words can give our feelings more power than they deserve sometimes. Like it's kind of good to step back and like take a minute to like process those emotions because even if I'm like saying them out loud to like what is like, my safe friends, like I give those words power and I get fired up sometimes when I hear them. And sometimes I have to like step aside and be like, is this happening to me or is this just something that's happening and I'm just in the mix of it and I need to like literally pick my battles and let it go, Like I think it's important to honor our feelings, but at the same time, like not every feeling deserves to be felt 100%.
Right. And or act upon, right? Like you don't
Yeah,
need to act on every feeling that happens, right? Even though you feel like you want to. It just, it is
we're
good some
entitled to even sometimes.
right, right. Like threatening to shoot someone or, all of that. None of that ends up well. And shooting off like an evil email to your supervisor or whatever, or like telling him to go fuck himself isn't gonna like do any good. Um,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, actually, so I mean, y'all who are in the group chat know about my ongoing situation that's happening right now.
Yep.
And I met with my sponsor yesterday, and she told me she was like, "I want you to do." She said that the online stuff that we do is fine. She goes, "But in person, I want you to do 30 days of only women's meetings." And I was like, why am I being punished for somebody else who did something bad? Like I didn't initiate that contact. Like I didn't threaten to kidnap somebody, you know?
Right.
Um and like initial like gut reaction was to be like, why am I being punished? This isn't fair to me. And then I don't know, I like kind of had to I took myself, I actually called my dad last night, and we talked about it, and I was like, I even if I don't agree with it, I'm gonna just have to trust that she has my best interest in heart, which I believe that she does, you know? And again, I think it just comes back to being like, you can't always view yourself as the victim, even if bad things are like happening around you. And I think that's that kind of mindset to take yourself out of, is like accepting that bad shit is going to happen in life. But where I choose to view myself, like in the range of how that bad shit is being distributed, is like key to my own sanity.
Right. And her suggestion might seem, like a penalization to you, like you did something wrong. But in the end, like I think it's like you were saying, it's just she has all of the best interest in mind.
Yeah,
Um,
and to be, we did like a fourth step about it, and to be transparent, like I did get too many people involved in this. Like there's a lot of like, I mean, granted it did cause a scene that evening, but like there's also I made a good handful of phone calls over the next few days after I, found that information out, like the excessive information out, and I did it out of reactionary fear. And so like at the same time, it's like maybe she has my best interest in mind, because like, he didn't do something and I said don't do that, and then that was the end of it. He did something, I had struggled with my boundaries, I found out more information, and then I kind of lost my mind about it. I mean, I called you at like what, midnight, Nate?
right.
Like it just, the way that I handled that probably wasn't, I didn't handle it, I could have done worse, but I didn't handle it with, full healed mindset. And maybe she's right. And that's a good time for me to, not a punishment, but time for me to step back and remove myself from any possibility of that situation repeating itself or extending. Anyways, I'm talking about myself a lot. I'm sorry.
No, that's good. It's what the meetings are for. And I don't think necessarily you were in that situation. I don't think you were trying to spread drama or whatever. And actually, in that situation, the more people that knew, the better. Just because I know how that situation was and who was
Yeah.
involved and all that. So you were just safer that way. So, you did you did what you needed to do to stay safe. So
I did what I could with what I had.
right. Exactly.
I can relate to that. I feel the same way when bad things happen to me too. Like it's hard to tell, is it me or is this just the situation in general? You're right. Sometimes it just is the short end of the stick, but then other times it's hard not to feel like, well, I need to get payback somehow, or like they're coming after me personally. I definitely can relate to that mentality, and you're right. It's a total victim mentality where you feel like nothing is your choice, someone else is always making it, and that's a real not great place to be.
Yeah.
I can agree with what you're saying, Emily, definitely.
So with
There's
that
nothing
being,
worse than having
oh, go ahead.
there's nothing worse than having to regain the time that you lost because you were too busy getting angry or just frustrated at the situation and right now that's what I'm going through. So
Good. So the meeting is right up your alley, and I think Josie's in the same kind of mentality. So that was the first part, just stopping. Oh, go ahead, Josie. You want to say something?
Was gonna say technically I tried to use the freaking stop skill a lot today to basically have someone stop making me feel like shit and that I was the bad person in a way and be able to talk down on me and everything. But it didn't work. It basically got to an extreme, but thankfully it stopped now. Like, yeah, it ruined a bunch of shit, and I'm gonna have to freaking take time to basically build myself together again. But instead of doing anything dumb to myself that I was going to regret, thankfully I was able to stop a little bit and reach out to a friend, and we may end up trying to figure out something to do tomorrow after my doctor's appointment, because I reached out because I decided I need to talk to someone in person that's a friend that's not going to make me feel like shit, or at least get out of my own head. And she's basically feeling stuck as well, so it'll be a good thing, hopefully, because yeah, I don't know, things are disaster.
Right now, my daughter needs people in her life, so she's talking to everybody, just trying to get things off of her mind. I can tell that, and myself, I'm going to the meeting. I haven't been in the meeting in 2 weeks, so it's just resettling down for me.
Right. And so I think Josie, what you're talking about a second ago is some good shit that you are, you stopped or whatever, and it didn't necessarily work out the way you wanted to. And from what I hear, that you're now reaching out, you decided that you need to reach out to somebody and have them in person. I think that's great. So the thing I would add to that is that, stopping, obviously if it doesn't work, pick it up and try something else. But the other thing too is if you need to stop just doing shit for like an entire day, that's okay too. Like I feel really like when I don't do something for a long period of time, I feel unproductive and whatever. So that's really hard for me to do, but it's just sometimes that's what I need to do. So sounds like you're doing the right things. Kind of leading into the next part of this is the next skill, and they kind of teach these in order. I just started at the emotional intelligence part, or emotional regulation part, I should say. It is also emotional intelligence because the more you can get a hold of your emotions, you become more intelligent with them, right? So it's called emotional intelligence. But um, this opposite action skill is just doing kind of the opposite of whatever kind of your gut reaction is. And it gives these examples like thirst tells you when you need to hydrate, you're thirsty, which is the opposite of hydrating, right? Hunger tells you that you need to eat, refuel, and then fatigue tells you, you need to rest, and activate and get more sleep so you can reactivate. And then it just gives you the top emotions here and kind of the opposite of what you should do. So like anger, right? Instead of attacking and defending and all of that, just show kindness and concern, or even just walk away. Um, that's huge for people, especially me, who want to respond right away with some sort of angry, response or whatever. It's good to sit back and maybe even just respond with kindness. Like I tried to do this morning with that stupid little issue that I had. Is like I just responded with more kindness, and it seemed to work out all right. Uh, shame gets us ready to hide, which makes us want to isolate. Talking about like if you feel like you did something wrong and you feel shameful about it, do the opposite. Raise your head up, eye contact, put your shoulders back, and with that, like what part kind of comes that step four. Anybody who's working steps is like, what part did you have in it? Was there even a part that you had in it? Uh, Fear makes you want to run and hide, shut things down. This one's actually okay to me if you're scared of something, to kind of relax and kick back and not necessarily, face it right now, but eventually you're gonna have to go towards it and stay involved. Depression, this one's huge. People like to stay in their depression a lot, which again is okay for a while, but to get out of depression, you really have to move your muscles. You have to eat right. You have to do what's right. Discuss whenever you're like, disgusted in something, you want to reject it or distance yourself. But it's might be a good time to push through whatever it is. And then guilt. It gets you ready to repair violations. It activates us to seek forgiveness. So this is a huge part in like recovery is owning up to your stuff, like the shit that you do, owning up to it like when it happens, and making your amends, right? And amends doesn't mean that you're looking to seek forgiveness. You're not when you make an amends to somebody, it is partly to make you feel good, but it's more of you're making amends with that person so you don't carry around that hate or resentment, and that they don't carry around that for you too. But you're not looking for forgiveness. Like I think beating like Emily's issue to death here, like I don't think, like you felt guilty, like you wanted to probably like seek forgiveness and like you might have done something wrong or whatever. And, but I think you did all the right things. You know what I mean? You wrote your fourth step out on it. You did, what you needed to do. I think later on that falls in the 10th step or whatever. But anyway, you apologize, where you need to and make amends with yourself. I don't think in that situation, that dude, you're going to make amends with him. Like, fuck him, right? Because, he's the one that did what he did, but you owned your part in it. And, that's what matters.
Yeah.
Let's see. So just some reminders here. If you want emotion to stick around or increase, continue to do the action as above. If you want it to stick around, right, like keep doing it. But if you don't, then do the opposite, right? If you want an emotion to go away or become less uncomfortable, do the opposite. And if we want the skill to work, we must use opposite action all the way and believe that it will work. So somebody wanted to talk to you. Yeah, feel free to share on any of this.
Yo, not to be rude, but if you just stop this at the first stop, then you wouldn't have to go through all these emotions and you wouldn't have to go through all the opposites of having to feel that emotion if you would just stop the emotion. I know you can't really stop emotions, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, like if you do the first action where you're stopping, I think that's more of like stopping to observe what's going on and then moving forward with some kind of purpose, right? And trying to figure your shit out. But if you just stop and you don't interact, and you don't have a feeling about it one way or other, that's cool too, I think, because like, it is what it is. You haven't done any damage. You haven't lashed out at anybody, you know what I mean? And you're just moving on with
Right.
your
Like you
shit.
can look at yourself and ask what you're doing, left or right, up or down,
Absolutely.
kind of type deal.
Yeah.
The part about if you're terrified, expressing the opposite emotion seems like a good idea. I know I often get stuck in like weird passive aggressive things where maybe one of us is mad, but we won't talk to the other person. Like right now, my dorm mate, he always gives me like really blank like looks. And I know I heard him like slamming doors like a week ago or so. And I kind of was just like, all right, well, I'm not a mind reader. I don't know, and walked away. But maybe asking him like, hey, dude, are you okay? Would have helped a lot. Though to be fair, I could understand being passive aggressive because I'm fucking like 6'6", 6'8" at like 240 pounds right now. So it's like,
Right.
do you really want to take a chance?
Right.
Do you really want to like have a difficult conversation when someone looks like that? I get it, but I don't know. That's a good idea. Maybe instead of just kind of letting it go on and being terrified, just as uncomfortable as it is, just be like, hey, dude, you're all right. Like, at least
There's
give
more
them
people to
an
go
out,
around than
if that
him.
makes sense. Yeah. In
Yeah.
general, though, I noticed that's like a common pattern where it's like me and people in general seem to get stuck in like stalemates, or either one of us won't talk, and it would be kind of cool to be the person who breaks that stalemate, because being passive aggressive sucks. I mean, oftentimes it's not a big issue if someone would just make the first move, it'd be over and done with. So I don't know. I'm putting that on me. I would like to be the one to reach out more.
Right. So like in that situation, like, you know, you might have been scared of this dude or terrified or whatever the word you used was, but you know, reaching out and kindness to him, like even if he tells you to go fuck yourself, right? In the end, it's like you tried, you know,
Yeah,
like what's the worst he's gonna do anyway? Just like verbally give you like, you know, but I think most people, like if you ask them like, hey, you know, what's up? Can I help or whatever,
yeah.
they're gonna be cool, you know. Um,
Even with professors, man, like I feel like if they think like I'm mad at them, they'll just kind of like keep their distance, or just like completely opposite side of the hallway when we like are in the same hallway. Uh, it would go a long way. I would, that's badass. I would like that to be my New Year's resolution. Make the first move more to diffuse passive aggressive situations. I'm fired up on it.
so yeah.
Uh, dude, this meeting's rocking tonight. I really like that you chose the DBT stuff.
Yeah, I think Josie or you on one of the meetings, or both of you guys asked for it a while back, and shit got distracted. And but yeah, I
Yeah,
was able
dude,
to
I have a
find this.
real bad problem with that, like getting baited. Like I'll have a rough day and then it's just like I said, go back to the car, traffic violation. It wasn't necessarily them that pissed me off. They're just the final match of a Tinder. But like still, I could have just learning that you don't have to react, and that true power, true strength comes from not reacting. Very, very important life lesson.
Right. I think I want to be to a point where and I'm working towards it. It's real hard, but like where shit just doesn't bother me. Like it just rolls off and I handle it with fucking, you know, class and like the I don't know, just like a fucking beast, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'll get there. It's never gonna be perfect, but like, you know,
Yo,
that's where
can
I
I
want to
join you on
be.
that quest?
Let's do it.
We'll
Cause
fucking Lord
seriously,
of the
like
Rings together. You be Bilbo Baggins and I'll be Sam. Like, I'm into it, man, because you know how valuable of a skill that is? Like,
for real.
it's like the one Incredible Hulk comic. The waves don't break on me, or the waves don't crash on me. They break on me because I'm strong.
Right.
Like you're a rocket in the ocean, like straight up. I'm into it, man. I'm gonna take that quest up with you.
Fuck yeah, let's do it because like today I spent most of my day like pissed off about work, you know, even though that situation it's like super small and whatever, like it's just a really
Yeah,
shitty place to be, you know what I mean? And I don't want to be there anymore. And so uh,
yeah.
yeah, let's join me in my quest because you know, I don't know, like I was to a point and I still am to this point where in my like addiction where I just want to be happy like at almost any cost, you know. I
I
don't know.
feel that, dude. I'm still learning how to do that too. Like, you're gonna laugh at this, but after the gathering, I got called out for it. I went to a friend's birthday at a comedy club, and they were like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm going to school to be a plastic surgeon." And they ripped into me, and they're like, "Geez, you're the saddest plastic surgeon you've met. What's wrong? You know, you're not happy. You're gonna make like $500,000. Where's your smile? Like, why are you look like you're about to cry?" It's true, dude. Like, what kind of bullshit is that? Like, I should be fired up, We should be
Yeah,
happy
yeah.
about like fucking Niagara Falls, like the pyramids. The song Miracles is fucking corny, but it's also true, dude. Like, there's so much beauty in the world. Like, why are we getting stuck on the simple stuff? So I don't know. I really agree with you, man. Damn, we should talk about that in text, like come up with an accountability buddy thing. Because I know I didn't talk about it, but that's one of my New Year's resolutions was to meditate more. So I've been doing that in the morning and at night for 4 minutes, just trying to learn to have a relaxed body and actually smile, like the small
Right.
things.
That was one of my kind of I don't know if I'd call it a resolution, but I've been trying to do that too. And I found a 1 minute meditation on Spotify, just like because there's days where
Mhm.
I'm just fucking so busy and just shit's going whatever. I just take that 1 minute just to chill and meditate, and it's
Mhm.
1 minute, but it's super awesome. And so I obviously try to do longer meditations, but
Oh, dude, they're tough. Like
yeah,
even the 4 minute one. Yeah, I feel you on that.
because you got to
Or
quiet your
Dude,
spanning
mind.
them out.
Yeah, what was that?
Spanning them out where you want to divide them into different ones.
Oh yeah. Enzo's our meditation expert. He might have some
Oh,
input
fuck
on that.
yeah.
Um,
Damn, dude, this week has been full of fire meetings. We talked about something similar like this yesterday in Enzo's meditation, where it's like, I don't know, are you really mad at the moment, or are you really like mad at yourself? And we watched a video on it that was like really, really fucking good. Like, I don't know, dude. Just damn, you guys are bringing the heat this week.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
really fired up about it.
we've been trying
Like,
to.
this isn't just good. This is just, it's not just good, man. Fucking awesome. Like, you guys are hitting on all cylinders right now.
Hell yeah, I like to hear that, man. That's dope. Because we've been just trying to up the outreach. We're trying to up, the content, things like that.